Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of The Unconditioned Life. We're going to be talking about how to get out of stress and anxiety in the moment and what you can do ongoingly to sort of keep yourself out of there. So, we're going to really be talking about the vagus nerve. So, this is an episode of The Unconditioned Life, which is all about how do we give up patterns and ways of being from our past in order to create the future that we want. So this is streaming in multiple places. This is a podcast episode, but also streaming on social media. So please say hello if you hop on, and if you have any questions, and if I can see them, I'll answer them in the moment. So again, we're going to talk about stress and anxiety, and specifically the vagus nerve. So I want to tell you a little bit about how your body works, and then some really easy, specific things that you can do on a regular basis to help train your body to get out of stress. So maybe you've heard of the vagus nerve, maybe that's new for you, but the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body. It comes from your brainstem down and goes all the way into the abdomen. So it ends in your gut, and it kind of winds its way through the body and stimulates a lot of different organs. And the vagus nerve is the main nerve. It's like pushing your calm button. If you can, imagine a button that you could push to get yourself out of stress, the vagus nerve would be it. So the vagus nerve is in charge of your body, or helping the nervous system when you're in rest and digest. So it's a nerve that is very important when you want to be in a peaceful state. And what happens is, when people are stressed a lot, all the time, on a regular basis, the vagus nerve doesn't get activated enough. It doesn't get stimulated. And then we get low vagus tone. So we want high vagus tone, meaning the vagus nerve clicks on easily. We're resilient. After a high stress period, we return to rest and peace. So that vagus nerve is super, super important. So if you stimulate your vagus nerve, or if you develop high vagus nerve tone, you help your body get out of stress and anxiety. So it's really important. And, it's not super hard to do. I'm going to give you some very specific things. But again, the vagus nerve goes from the brainstem all the way down into the abdomen. So it's very much related to digestion. It lands in the abdomen. So when we have poor vagus tone and we're in high stress all the time, our digestion is very much affected. So by stimulating the vagus nerve, you help with digestion, you help with your sleep, you help with all of the things that chronic stress is working against, and is hindering and bothering in your body. So the vagus tone is very important. Okay. The vagus tone, so you can stimulate your vagal nerve and improve your vagus tone in two ways, either with physical things. I'm going to give you some physical exercises or things to do, and also with emotional things, because it's responding to a sense of peace and rest in the body. So you can do either physical and or emotional things to help your vagus nerve get stimulated. Okay. So the first thing is anything that has to do with the vocal cords. So the vagus nerve comes down the right side from the brainstem, and it comes down in the front and where the vocal cords are. So anytime that you stimulate your vocal cords, singing, gargling, you can just gargle every day on a regular basis, and that will help your vagus nerve. That will help you get out of stress and anxiety. When you sing and you use your vocal cords, it doesn't matter how you sound, doesn't matter who's listening, but sing. And what's interesting to me is how people sing when they're happy. People don't sing when they're sad and depressed. So there's an emotional correlation too to the singing, but just the act of singing, the physical exercise of that, is going to have a positive effect on your vagus nerve. Okay. You also can do like chanting, like in yoga, if you've ever taken a yoga class, that om, or any kind of chant, again, using your vocal cords. You can also laugh. So, watching comedy. And again, people don't laugh when they're depressed and anxious. So, there is that emotional component, but just the actual practice and exercise of laughing is going to help your vagus nerve. You can also use cold water. So this might sound a little counterintuitive. It did to me anyway. Like cold water is shocking. That would be stressful. But cold water will actually help your vagus nerve improve its tone. And that's what we want, is a higher vagal nerve tone. That's going to tell us that our health is improved. There's a correlation with vagus tone and heart rate variability. And heart rate variability is the number one tool to determine your morbidity rate, how well your health is for long-term health and longevity. So high vagal tone related to heart rate variability. And we want to have, what that means is we want to have the ability to be in stress and then recover. They both tell us how well we recover, how resilient we are, which then is correlated to our health. So cold water, back to that, cold water, it might sound counterintuitive, but cold water will help you improve that. So you can start with just putting your hands like in a bucket of cold water. Put your hands in a bucket of cold water, add some ice, a little bit at a time, and you're building up. You don't need to stay in there for 20 minutes. You can start off at 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, build up. So your hands and then your face as well. So you can put cold water on your face, very cold water, like from that ice bucket. I don't know about sticking your face in the ice bucket because then you can't breathe, but get the cold water on your face. So start with your face and your hands, and then build yourself up to cold showers. Again, when you're doing a full shower, go back to the 30 seconds and a minute to a couple of minutes, whatever you can tolerate. But as you use that cold, you're going to improve your vagal tone. And if you're just jumping on, what I said at the beginning is the vagus nerve is like pushing a calm button for your nervous system. It's like if you had a button where you could push get calm now, it would be the vagus nerve. That's the nerve that you want to have activated. It kind of like it tricks your brain. So even doesn't matter what's going on in your world, you stimulate your vagus nerve and your brain goes, oh, I'm calm. Okay. Like you actually get a feeling of calm wash over you. So that's the nervous system, like totally switching into rest and digest when that vagus nerve is stimulated. The other interesting thing about it is poor vagal tone, low vagal tone is passed from mother to baby. So if there's a mother who struggles with depression and anxiety, doesn't have great vagal tone, the baby will be born in that same position, same predicament. So it's important, if you want to improve that before you have children, or to understand that that is passed down. So again, before I move into the emotional things, the physical things that I said you can do is one, do actual massage here or by your right ear coming down this whole side of your neck. Actually massage it, and you're stimulating the nerve. Singing, laughing, gargling, chanting, anything to do with the vocal cords, because that nerve comes right down, right through the vocal cords and lands in your abdomen. So that's how long it is. And it winds its way around different organs as it goes down. So it's the longest nerve in the body. So you can actually massage it and do those other physical things. Now there's some emotional things that you can do as well. So, I'm sorry, I also didn't say exercise. So movement is going to actually stimulate your vagus nerve. Now, for some people who, a couple of those options may not be great for you. Maybe, walking or exercising is not where you're at right now, but you could gargle. You could go sing in a cold shower. You might yell in a cold shower. How about that? That's a double whammy, right? So you pick and choose. What I'm giving you is a list of things. You don't have to do them all, but I'm giving you a list of things that are proven effective, that will improve if you practice over time your vagus nerve, its ability to kick in, which would bring you out of stress, its ability to be resilient after periods of stress. So you pick what works for you and where you're at right now. Okay, so those are the physical things. The emotional things that you can do are immerse yourself in gratitude, because when you're in gratitude, like if somebody just did something amazing for you, if somebody just paid off your house, guess what? No more mortgage. Your house is paid off. Like that feeling of like, oh my God, so grateful. You can't even believe it, right? That's an extreme, but you can be grateful on a lot of levels. But having that feeling of gratitude in your body, which is very different than just checking off gratitude check marks, right? But having it in your body will stimulate the vagus nerve. Breath work will stimulate the vagus nerve. So if you're doing deep breathing and then singing and then stop and breathe a little bit, and sing and stop and breathe, and maybe massage the vagus nerve and then do another round of that. Very, very effective. Okay, so the gratitude journaling, the breath work, find different apps. There's a ton of them. I think a lot of them are free to do some meditation, even if it's just for 2 or 3 minutes. Meditation is not going to, like, when you stop meditating, you're back out in your life. But during the meditation, it allows your body to realize it's not in survival, that it's actually safe. And that's what we're looking to attain, to get that vagus nerve to have improved tone. So you can do some meditation. You also want to expose yourself to nature and beautiful things out in nature. When you're outside and there's like a beautiful sunset, or a view of the water, or you're in a garden where there's a lot of colors, when we really get present to those things, it helps our nervous system. It helps the vagus nerve. So that's an emotional feeling of like, oh my gosh, look around me, look how beautiful it is, calming, peace. Okay, so those are the emotional things that you can do. So again, especially if you're jumping in late, physical things to stimulate your vagus nerve, that's what we're looking to do. Emotional things that stimulate your vagus nerve. When your vagus nerve is stimulated regularly, especially if you've been in stress for a long time, or you've had a lot of stress, you've got to stimulate that nerve because it's been shut down. It's been turned off, and you've got to turn it back on again. So the physical things were gargling, singing, laughing, chanting, anything like that, because it's right by your vocal cords. That's going to stimulate it. Massage and do it at the same time. Cold water, like ice water, hands, build up hands and face to a shower and build yourself up. Wonderful for your nervous system and also for your immune system. What else did I say? Exercise, laughter. Those were the physical things. The emotional things are really getting present in your body, not just thinking about, but in your body, feeling grateful for what there is that you have to feel grateful about. Noticing beauty around you, especially in nature. Get outside and notice. That calms the body. We are connected to the earth and the environment. So spend some time out there. Also, the breath work. Also, finding an app that you can do some meditation. Again, just teaching your nervous system, giving it time to shut off. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about to wind up this conversation is, what are some signs to know that your vagus nerve has low tone? So if you feel dizzy, like just dizzy for no reason, but you have this kind of feeling of dizziness. You might feel nauseous. You might have weakness in your legs. You have poor sleep. Some people, when they really, are struggling, we're cued into like adrenal fatigue, my adrenals, and they're doing adrenal supplement and all of that. But a key part of it is also stimulating the other part of your nervous system. So the adrenals are in the fight or flight. And you may be doing a lot of work to quiet them down. But if you're not revving up the rest and digest side, if you're not retraining your vagus nerve, you may not be getting the results that you want. So look and see again, nausea, dizziness, like for no reason. You're not sick and you just like certain things will trigger and then you're dizzy or you have weakness in your legs like that. That's poor vagal nerve stimulation. Okay. What else? Poor sleep. So those are your signs if you're not sure, but if you have been in chronic stress, high stress for a long time, you can pretty much bet on it because you have a nervous system just like everyone else. So, excuse me. So those are all the things you want to do. If you have any questions, drop them in and I will definitely go back and answer them when I get a chance. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great night.